If you ask a Formula One fan who the best driver ever is, most people will say one name, Ayrton Senna. The very first seconds of this show dedicated to his story start in the most heartbreaking way, with the accident that took his life. I think the filmmakers did this on purpose. Throughout the entire show, the audience keeps that in mind while watching his warmest moments with his family, when he hugs his mom, celebrates with his dad, and talks about future kids with his girlfriend. The lingering sadness accompanies us as we celebrate the life of the greatest Formula One driver. First, let's talk about the filmmakers. They are Brazilians, just like Ayrton, and some of them lived through this story as kids. You can feel how deeply honored they were to make this show, and it makes you trust their perspective. These guys meticulously recreated everything. The cars, the Monaco, Italy and Japan tracks, the suits, even the characters' faces, all without leaving South America. It's such a gift for Formula One fans, and not just them, to see these legendary races brought to life with such high quality and cinematic flair. They used real tracks and cars mixed with CGI and added studio-filmed close-ups showing the drivers' emotions and their hands shifting gears. Which brings us to the next and best point, the cinematography of the races. I kept thinking to myself how much I'd love to see real Formula One races filmed like this. The suspense, energy and sheer drive it adds are incredible. Even when you know how a race ends, you still feel anxious, you just can't stop watching. As a former karting driver myself, I loved seeing the little technical details they included. For example, when Ayrton tapes up his radiator so the engine heats up faster, I was like, oh my god, we used to do that too. Did they invent it? I don't know, but it felt so special to realize that what we did in karting came from techniques invented by legendary figures in motorsport. The helmets, the suits as we know them now, they are all the result of practical experience, though sadly sometimes formed by tragedy. Ayrton was known for being very hands-on with engineers, helping improve car aerodynamics and handling. His feedback played a big role in developing legendary cars like the McLaren MP44. Ayrton Senna forever changed Formula One. Safety standards improved dramatically after his accident. Although he and other drivers often spoke about the dangers, the politics of Formula One kept turning a blind eye. The more dangerous it was, the more exciting it seemed. The way the show portrays Ayrton on this issue didn't feel very accurate to me. They talk a lot about him being Brazilian and having this fiery personality, like he was scandalous, but in reality his main Formula One rival, French driver Alain Prost, had close ties with Jean-Marie Balester, the president of the FIA, who also happened to be French. Of course, Prost was favored, and Ayrton felt discriminated against. Sure, Alain Prost was a great driver, but their styles were completely different. Watching Ayrton drive a Formula One car was mesmerizing. His speed was unreal, and sometimes he passed others like they were standing still. He could carry incredible speed into turns and somehow still control the car on the way out. Ayrton held the record for the most pole positions in 10 years. The only person to come close to that since is Lewis Hamilton. Prost, on the other hand, was more calculated. He knew the rules inside out and used them to his advantage against Ayrton. After watching a documentary about Senna and his rivalry with Prost, I came to see him as an even simpler, more genuine person than the show portrays. Someone just defending his opinions and his right to be treated fairly. Gabriel Leone did a great job playing Senna, no doubt, but it didn't always feel entirely accurate. One thing that didn't make it into the show, but I think really shows Senna's character, is the story of how he stopped his car during the 1992 Belgian Grand Prix to help Eric Coma. After Coma had a terrible crash, Ayrton ran to shut off his engine, risking his own safety to prevent a fire. Moments like that prove how brave and caring he was. He might have been an aggressive driver, but he was a great and kind person under the helmet. While the race scenes are fantastic, it's obvious they put a lot of effort into creating them. The portrayal of Ayrton Senna's love life felt like a weaker point. I felt zero chemistry. His wives and girlfriends just appear out of nowhere and disappear just as quickly. Most of the time they kiss and it's like, okay, Ayrton is happy, it's a happy moment of his life, cool. Maybe 6 episodes just weren't enough to tell us everything. The show also includes a fictional character, Laura Harrison, a motorsport reporter. She's everywhere, pretending to be Ayrton's friend, giving him advice, then trashing him in her articles. At first it seems like there might be some romance between them, but that spark disappears and she just becomes the most annoying character. Maybe that was the point, maybe she's meant to represent that kind of pride journalist. I don't know, but it's hard to understand how she could be so heartless yet still claim to be a fan. Later we see her crying as Ayrton's body is carried through the streets of Brazil on a fire truck. In the end, we see Ayrton finally make peace with Alain Prost. After Ayrton's death, Prost even became a major investor in the foundation that Ayrton's family started in his name to help Brazilian children access education. I appreciated that this show didn't try to force tears out of us at the end. While Ayrton's sudden death must have been unbearable for his family, especially since they were all so close and supportive, for us the show focused more on celebrating his life and incredible talent. Ayrton left arguably the biggest legacy in motorsport history, and his death marked the start of a 20-year period without fatalities in Formula 1. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more.